Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to be chatting with Jessamine O'Connor, a poet and writer. Her career seems to go from strength to strength. Recently her poetry film Learning to Breathe won first prize in Drumshambo Written Word, as well as she was shortlisted in Copenhagen's Nature and Culture International Film Festival, and her novel Somewhere is actually set to be released in May 2026. For those of you who don't know, Jessamine was actually on the editing team for the inaugural or first ever edition of Scrimshaw. So I suppose really in this interview, I'm just trying to impress someone who actually brought my job into a reality. So let's begin. Hi, Jessamine, and welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet me and chat about Scrimshaw.
Hi, Gemma.
How are you?
I'm good. Thanks.
That's good. Amazing. Tell me about setting up that very first volume and your involvement with it and what that entire process was like for you.
The first volume of Scrimshaw was really interesting. I kind of got on board after a couple of months. I was slow to get on board because I figured I didn't have time. I didn't know what I was going to contribute to it. And the others, or a couple of the others, got all the practicals kind of up and running and, funding and bureaucracy and stuff. I have no contribution to make to that. So I waited until there was something was happening. And then we all worked together. It was five of us, Margaret, Peter, David, Kevin, and myself. And we advertised, read all the pieces, and we all sort of had a yes, no traffic light system on how things that would get passed. But we did read every single thing, and we disagreed over quite a lot of things, but it all came good and it was beautiful in the end. And the designer, but she won an award for the best design of the year, I think, for a magazine. It was just fantastic. And also the title of the magazine, Scrimshaw, that was Margaret Hoffman who came up with that title, and we had been all trying to think of names for this new magazine for weeks, if not months, and just going on round and around and disagreeing, and nobody could think of anything decent. And Margaret came up with this idea, and it was just really stuck, and was like the more we thought about it, the better it was. And that was her idea. And now everybody just thinks it's just a title that came from nowhere, but it was Margaret sticking to her guns and having the great idea. And it was a great experience. And the experience of doing editing for the first time, and I'd really done that properly. And then that led me to become one of the editors with a small press in Scotland called Drunk Muse Press. I'm still editing with them. And so it was great.
That's amazing. So you're still editing with the Drunk News Press. Is it quite a busy job for you, or do you have much involvement with that?
No, because it can be, you can take on as much as you want to take on. I generally have only done books. Most of the books have been the Irish publication. So most recently, I should have it to hand, but I don't. Most recently, Jamie O'Halloran is a poet based in Connemara. We brought out a collection of hers called Ballast, which is beautiful. And before that, I was editing Helen B. Grehan's book of poetry and songs called The Return. That was fantastic. And also I've edited with a couple of the others on Palestinian poets, Doreen Tatour, her prison memoirs and her poetry and stuff like that. So I don't do as much now as the others who are based in Scotland, because most of the poetry books are Scottish and some of them are in Scots, which I don't feel like I'm really able to help much with. But I do more the Irish stuff. And they also have a magazine, The Poets Republic, which I give a hand with as well.
Wow, you're very busy. Do you think that Scrimshaw has evolved much since that very first edition?
It seems to be largely following the same thing, which is beautiful. I love the art and the combination of art and words and non-fiction and essays, as well as poetry and stories and whatever. I think it just looks so beautiful. It's really beautifully produced. What I like now is that you can find things online with videos and stuff like that, and you can read back the issues. So for people that don't get an actual physical copy, I think that's good.
Yeah, I've never actually seen the first ever Scrimshaw. I can't find it online. Like a rare, something that they keep in a museum. You only ever hear of it. You don't know it's really there.
Okay. I might still have a couple of copies here somewhere.
Spectacularly, Jessamine did manage to find a copy, and design credit goes to Sarah Glendon, who went to ATU Galway. Okay, so you've had
Oh,
several works published in Scrimshaw, but most recently your poem Stop Calling It War, which was published last year. With your experience, can you tell me a bit about the importance of these types of journals for artists, both emerging and long-standing?
of course, I just think it's great to have a mixture of people at different stages in their writing life, uh, and on the same page or on pages
Mhm.
facing each other. I think that's great. Certainly in any issues of Scrimshaw that I've read, there's a mixture of, students. There can be people who just work on the campus in whatever way that they work there, and as well as, professors and the academics. And I think that that is great because everybody has a voice and they can share their voice in publications like that. And that poem, Stop Calling It War, I was pleased to have that published because it was really my comments to our media for calling a one-sided genocide a war, like as if it's between two people on two sides, and when really it is just a proven case of a one-sided slaughter. So that's what the poem is about, and I was happy that that was published in Scrimshaw.
Last year was a really big year for you. You had a lot of achievements. For me, I'm from Galway, and your poem, The Last Gift, was put up in Galway University Hospital. I found that really touching. Could you tell me about some of the background of that work?
The Last Gift, oh yeah, I'm really delighted that that is in the wall of Galway Hospital. It's called The Last Gift because the poem is about this book that my mum gave me for my birthday about 2 years ago. And she'd just given me the book, so I had it in my bag. And the book was The Whitsun Weddings by Philip Larkin. It's a short poetry collection. And I had it in my bag, and then my mum had this catastrophic stroke. So therefore, for the next months, I think the next 10 months, she was in a hospital in Dublin. And so I just seemed to always have that book in my bag,
Hmm.
and it was kind of all that I was reading. And so I was reading that just over and over and over again. And so I ended up, the last line in my poem is the last line in the book of poems. And I was writing it, I felt like that it was could be quite a negative poem, but actually I thought it was very sad and I didn't want my mum to read it. And then it won this prize, and I actually couldn't go and be at the thing because I was with mum that week. And
Hmm.
uh, so anyway, and then so I obviously had to show her the poem, and then she did like it, and then she really liked it, and then when I went down the following week to just have a look, Margaret Flannery, I think from there, she came over to me and had this replica of the one that's on the wall. So it's about 1 million feet big. It's huge and in a big glass frame. And I don't have room in my house for something so big. But my mum put it on her wall over the dining room table. So that is nice.
That's nice.
Yeah,
She sees it all
it's
the
weird.
time then.
Yeah, but I mean it's there, but it's to the side. So I don't ever look at my poems.
She must be very proud of you.
Yeah, so that's nice.
Last year, your poetry film, Learning to Breathe, achieved massive success. It was a collaborative project. Can you tell me a bit about the process of collaborating on something like this?
Well, I love collaborating with other people, well, with friends, and I've made a couple of other poetry films, and this one, it was a poem I had already written that was just a weird long poem that didn't really fit anything or anywhere. Just kind of an odd poem about what I was what I was going through, which was trying to just stay sane and clear my head by walking my dog across the bog where across the road from where I live. And it's just about trying to breathe when everything around in the world just seems to be so completely banjaxed. Then I was away at Tyrone Guthrie Centre, and it occurred to me that it would possibly make a good film because it certainly doesn't seem to fit in anything else. And I texted or rang my two friends, Marek Petrovic and the musician, Tear Down the Walls, and basically within a couple of days or a few days, we had the music. And then when I got home, Marek came straight over, as he always does, and we just went and filmed the whole thing in a couple of hours. And then he started editing it, and then I was around there bossing him around a bit. And then we put the whole thing together, and then with the music live in the edit room within the space of a few days. And it was just lovely. And Mark is always so reliable to do great work with. So delighted with that. And yeah, and then anywhere, most of the places we sent it, everybody took it and has broadcast it all over the place. And yeah, and then it won the Drumshanbo written word competition. So that was nice.
It was an amazing achievement. As a poem, it's stunning, but as visuals, it's something else
Mm,
as well because it's so, I want to say, stereotypically Irish. It's like so green and damp, and you have your boots on and you're stomping in the ground, and then the camera pans up and you just have like your long red hair. It's stunning, really.
thank you. I mean, I wasn't going to have myself in it at all, apart from the boots, because I don't
Hmm.
like to appear in my videos. But then the camera was just naturally panning up over me to get more overhead shots. And then when we saw that in the edit, and it wasn't like my face was at the back of my head, and I thought, no, that actually looks kind of nice. My hair looks nice. So I left it
Your
in.
hair is stunning, like
Well, it
genuinely
is in that
stunning.
video. I don't know about the rest of the time. But yeah, so that's nice.
Most importantly, perhaps because it's yet to come. So this May, we'll see the publishing of your novel, Somewhere, which is so beyond exciting. And I know that this is a piece of a story that appeared in a volume of Scrimshaw. Can you tell me about the process of writing this story and how it developed?
Yeah, sure. I suppose it's had to write bits and pieces of prose and fiction and stuff, and they just were accumulating. And then maybe a year or two after that, when I was still in the third year, then I was encouraged to kind of put it together and try and make a novel out of it. So that's when it really got going. And then I was kind of really mostly writing that for the last up until a year ago. Then a year ago, I sent it to Lilliput. They had an open window and they took it immediately. And so the last year has been editing. So that's a lesson to me, which is that I thought it was finished a year ago. I was, oh, I've written this, I've written my book. And then I've spent the last year trying to get it better. So now I think it is I think it is good. So I'm hoping that yeah, I hope that some people will like it anyway.
That's one thing I've also learned from, like, well, for me, from being involved with Scrimshaw, is the editing process is
Mm.
no joke. It's hard. Yeah, that's so exciting. And what is the
Mhm.
date? The
Yeah, there'll be a launch in Dublin in Dewberry Books on Grafton Street on the 15th of May. And then there'll be another launch in Sligo the following week on the Thursday, the 21st of May in Liber Bookshop.
Are you going to do like a bit of a reading there?
I haven't decided.
Hmm.
I'm
So
not sure.
TBC.
To be confirmed.
Stay tuned.
There'll be wine and there will be some people.
That's very exciting.
It should be fun.
Before you finish up, you were going to do a bit of a reading for us.
You asked if I could read the poem, the last one that I had in Scrimshaw,
Hmm.
which is called Stop Calling It War. So I'll finish with that. Stop calling it war. When the sky swarms with machines and every place you go to escape explodes, when piece after piece you lose all of what makes you yourself, starting with home, it's not war. When you're told to run, so you run, bringing only the most treasured of things, but you're running in circles and dropping the cat, baby photos, wedding rings, parents, and their last parched blessings. It's not war. When you stop running only when the small arm you've been dragging up mountains of rubble, down through pits of smoke, just to end up back again where you began. When that hand you've been holding so fiercely grows cold and the arm just dangles with no child left behind it, it's not war. When a confetti of words falls, says to keep moving, but there's nowhere to move to, so you sit down there in the dust of your city's bones, knowing there was never meant to be any solution. And every person you knew and loved and grew up with would be ground down like eggshells for their freshly sown fields. It's not war.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, well, thank you for having me on, Gemma.
No, I appreciate it so much, and I really appreciate you sharing your work. And you read it so beautifully as well. So, thank you so much. And oncoming, you said May 15th?
May 15th in Dublin and May 21st in Sligo.
Somewhere. So exciting. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a million.
Thank you.
Bye.